Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today to our fourth ever live Instagram interview. So, we're just waiting for everyone to join. Before I start, I just want to say that if you're interested in finding out more about Tennessee conservation voters, you can check out our website at tnconservationvoters.org and you can sign up for weekly legislative updates, action alerts, and we post blogs, and we also share old interviews and other content onto our YouTube channel, which can be found there as well. So today we will be talking to Angel Fowler. Angel is a senior environmental scientist with Blue Way and works with landowners, nonprofits, and government agencies to coordinate ecosystem and mitigation bank development. And if you don't know what that is, we will explain it soon. And she also is the co-founder of Earthwile Collective, an organization focused on environmental preservation, sustainability, and artistic resourcefulness. And we're lucky to have her as a board member at TCV. So I'm going to connect with her right now. Hopefully. Hi, Angel.
Hey! How are you, Rachel?
I'm doing well.
Good. How's everybody else doing? I see there's a couple folks on here.
Still, Barbara.
Awesome. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm outside.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Okay, good.
Where are you at? How's it going?
So I'm actually out here with my coworker, Grant, who I'll show you. He's out here surveying. We are surveying in a constructed stream channel out here in Chester County. It's actually for one of our mitigation banks called Centerpoint Mitigation Bank. And we're in the middle of construction right now and just making sure that all of the design parameters are up to par. So it's exciting.
What is the mitigation bank, or what does Blue Way do for those of us?
That's a really good question. So Blue Way, so what we do is we restore ecosystems and focus primarily on stream and wetland restoration, and we develop mitigation banks. So mitigation banks are very large consolidated areas of streams or wetlands, and they're basically used to offset impacts to natural resources that are nearby. So any permittee that's permitting under Section 404 or Section 401 of the Clean Water Act generally use mitigation banks as their form of mitigation to offset those impacts.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I was going to ask so clearly you're very passionate about the environment. You're involved in lots of different avenues and paths with the environment. So what really called your heart to wanting to become an environmental scientist and wanting to work with environmental advocacy?
Well, I have to say, I have to, give a shout out to my childhood and my parents basically locking me outside during the summertime and just encouraging me to go explore and ride my bike and splash around in ponds and things like that. So I've always really enjoyed being in nature, playing with critters, and that kind of gave rise to me majoring in biology at Austin Peay State University. And I will say that once I got into graduate school and got a lot of exposure to different topics, that was really what sparked my interest in environmental science. And I got my background there in biological monitoring and using macroinvertebrates as indicator organisms to determine the quality of the environment. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Hamilton at Austin Peay for guiding me and advising me while I was going through graduate school. So that was definitely the key.
And so when did you get involved with Tennessee Conservation Voters?
So it's actually, I think it's coming up on my 1 year anniversary. It was about a year ago. And I got really lucky. Michelle, one of our fellow board members, her boyfriend is actually a landowner that we work with. We're working on a mitigation bank with him. And I got introduced to her through her boyfriend, Dickie, and she told me about Tennessee Conservation Voters. It sounded like a really interesting organization. And I really wanted to get more into environmental advocacy, and it just ended up working out. So I'm happy to be a board member.
A big part in planning and helping plan the Nature Votes fundraiser, which is our how was that? Was it challenging? Exciting?
I will say I did help with that, but definitely Kendall did most of the work on that for sure. But it was very, I really enjoy setting up events. I do it through Earthwall Collective with my partner there. We set up at different markets and Bend and everything. So getting to set up like the silent auction and of course talking to people is one of my favorite things to do. So getting to meet different people and of course promoting our political advocacy and then honoring people who do a really awesome job with the environment is a great part of this fundraiser.
Yeah, it was
So I'm,
a cool event for
I
sure.
know, I know. And I got to meet you there too.
So another thing that I wanted to ask was kind of, you kind of touched on this about political advocacy, and I wanted to ask how your specific um, role as in more of like a science realm, how that informs or how it, if it changes the way you look at advocacy or anything like that.
Well, basically, I mean, what we're doing is working under different environmental regulations that are already in place today. So, you know, our Clean Water Act regulations, Endangered Species Act regulations, and we're on the ground collecting data to support all of that.
Yeah.
And it definitely changes how I see I guess the world really. I mean, it is important to preserve our environment and ensure that these regulations are enforced. Because if we don't have them, then, you know, we'll be impacting and just affecting the environment in more ways than we are currently. So we need to have laws and regulations in place to do that.
Do you think it feels more present, like in your life, since you do often have to actually go to these sites and you are interacting with the environment, whereas like I think in sometimes in cities, big cities, I don't know if we even interact with nature as much as we could, leaving us
Yeah.
alienated from the cause in itself. I don't know if that makes
Oh,
sense.
definitely, especially when working in environmental restoration, because we're going to areas that have been disturbed and degraded for sometimes decades to centuries. I mean, they've been impacted by agriculture, mostly, but you know, pollution and things like that. So when we're out here getting those existing baseline conditions and then comparing them to what things look like later on once everything is restored, it is so cool to see like all this functional uplift and like, you know, critters coming back and trees growing and knowing that these areas are protected under a conservation easement in perpetuity is definitely something to be proud of because nobody's going to ever be able to touch them. And it's not just being in the environment, it's also coordinating with all these different regulators, folks that are with Fish and Wildlife Service and the Corps of Engineers and TDEC and NRCS and TWRA. Like we're closely working with them and making sure we're satisfying everything that they're regulating and just overall working with everybody. And I love working with landowners too, because
Yeah.
educating folks is a really big part of this as well. So it's just a lot of connecting the dots in that sort of thing.
But it seems like a really, that's like a really positive way of like experiencing like working with the environment, because I think it can seem negative a lot, at least like
Mm-hmm.
news, or but to be able to be on the ground and see improvement and see that things can come back if we just make the effort to put in the work and try. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
important. That's really like
It,
valuable to have that like optimistic feeling, I think. To,
oh, for sure. I mean, I will say there are some things that can be a little negative when it comes to, you know, folks that may be monitoring groundwater at, you know, abandoned plants and there's still groundwater contamination occurring and but
yeah.
being able to be a part of that and being able to rehabilitate that and working with agencies in order to ensure that folks are doing that, getting back on track and working with their due diligence is all part of it. So people
Yeah.
are fixing the environment. We're trying.
Um, so I guess a little more negative, but what are some challenges you feel like faced, you know, trying to do this, trying to be an environmental advocate?
I I think the biggest challenge is getting people to care.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people who are kind of, you know, they're doing their thing, you know, they're living their lives and kind of are very narrow minded and aren't very open minded with some things, and just, you know, trying to educate folks and explain to them that this is something to care about and it is important because it affects all of us. I mean, the environment is our livelihood. If we
Yeah.
didn't have it, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, trying to reach out to people and get folks to understand its importance can be a challenge, but it's also fun because it gives you an opportunity to have those conversations with people.
Yeah, and I think most people at the end of the day, I think they do care or they want to care, but sometimes they feel so like overwhelmed. It can feel very
Yeah.
overwhelming and lead to apathy. Just this
Yeah.
feeling like I don't know what to do, and I know I felt that way before. But it's important that there are people reaching out to people like that, and we just have to keep trying to include them in the conversation.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's what, Tennessee Conservation Voters is here for. We have the resources to help people understand what's going on, what bills are being potentially enforced. And, just there's people here, our board members and staff all have different technical backgrounds, different experiences. So if anybody ever needs help with something, we're always here. Just reach out.
Yeah, I think you've kind of touched on that, but I was going to ask what kind of advice or thoughts you might have about people that were not sure about how to get involved, what they could do, young people or just people in general.
Just, I mean, definitely reaching out to us. And then also any nonprofit organization that is focused on environmental conservation. I mean, they're always there to give you advice about, what watershed they're protecting or what area of expertise they're trying to protect. And just getting as much information as you can for sure.
I think, yeah, like, and especially with Tennessee conservation voters, I think the legislative process, we've kind of talked about this. It can definitely feel for someone that is coming from a science background or someone that's coming from a political science background or whatever, it can feel overwhelming to understand the legislative process, and that's why Tennessee Conservation Voters is so helpful because we help provide the legislative updates and like writing about what the bills are and what bills you need to care
Yeah.
about, exactly who to contact, and like I said before, you guys can sign up for that at our website. We send out the emails. Um, okay, so my last question, the fun, is
Okay.
book recommendations.
Uh-huh. Oh man. I read so much for work that I'm sad to say I haven't read a book in a very, very long time. But I will say, when I went to graduate school, there was a book that I read to help with my thesis, and it was really interesting. It's by Alfred Crosby. It was written in the 70s. It's called The Columbian Exchange: The Biological and Cultural Consequences of 1492. And what this book basically goes over is just how much impact the Columbian Exchange had on our environment, because there were a lot of goods that were being imported and exported. A lot of the signature items, I guess, that you think of in some areas, like pineapples in Hawaii, for instance, or cheese in Wisconsin, that is all a result of the Columbian Exchange.
Yeah,
So just a really interesting book.
that sounds very interesting. I books that everyone has been recommending on here. Okay, so yeah, is there anything else that you want to say, or oh, I think you're frozen, or maybe I'm frozen. Oh, ah. I don't know if I'm frozen or if everyone can still see me. I'm frozen. Oh, okay. Well, she is out in the nature, so you have Wi-Fi and the internet service out there. Who knows? Um, all right. Well, thank you. Yeah, she can. I think she can. Here, let's see if she'll come back. Nope. Okay. So I just wanted to say, um, sorry for this, that we are having a webinar coming up that we're excited to announce called It Isn't Over: Key Environmental Bills Still to Be Decided by Legislators. And it's going to include an overview of the different environmental bills we've seen this year and the key issues that we are going to see in the next legislative session. And so there's going to be 2 sessions of this webinar, just like last time, that will be on Wednesday, May 20th at 5:30 p.m. and Friday, May 22nd at 12:30 p.m. And these are all Central Time. And you don't have to worry about remembering all those details because we're going to be posting it on social media, and there's a Facebook event that you can join to find the link to the sign up, and we'll put the sign up in our bio as well. So I hope you guys can make that. Thank you so much, Angel, for that interview, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.